Rex Arthur Show. This is the LGBTQ channel that discusses LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ perspective in an LGBTQ planet. And we have changed the format of the intro to clearly show people that we are living in an LGBTQ planet. We have always been living in it, and will live when we die. We will leave the planet as LGBTQ. It's a fact. You're either lesbian, you're either bisexual, you're either gay, you're either transgender, you're either queer, you're either intersexual, you're either sexual, you are either pansexual, or you are an ally, which means you are straight who understands LGBTQ persons. So that LGBTQ plus means everybody in the world. Wonderful. So today we want to, of course, send our deepest condolences to the Jewish people and America, because even America is mourning. Of course, people die every day. That's what we need to understand about life. But the sometimes how people die is very crushing, and especially when people die in a worship service, it is really sad. And that's what has happened in America. Of course, that happened during the weekend when they were having Shabbat, or celebrating Sabbath, resting on that day. Now, sometimes it's I don't really like talking about, and I this will be a very short video. I won't talk a lot about Jewish issues because we know the sensitivity of them, in the sense that Jewish people have always been targeted. It's a very weird phenomenon. From ancient times till today, Jewish people have always been targeted by certain people. So some people always attack them. And it's weird. I don't know if you are religious, um, like religious people, believers, okay, not believers, because everybody's a believer. Even an atheist is a believer. He believes in something. Uh, so everybody's a believer. It's just that a religious person is someone who believes in a deity, in a God. So it is a religious person. What does a religious person do? Sorry, when I was explaining the believers, I lost my train of thought. What I was just basically saying is that if you are, and it's not a religious person, I think I'm wrong to say that, somebody who is looking for God, especially God, Judeo Christian God, will believe that God exists because of the Jewish people. And this is what Frederick the Great said when he was being barbered. And he asked the barber, I think the barber was somebody, who are who are the Jews? And tell me if there's a God. He asked the question. And he said, yeah, there's a God. And why do you say there's a God? Because of the Jews. So people who believe in God, especially the Abrahamic religion, you believe that the Jews are a chosen nation, or not chosen nation, they are a special nation in the eyes of God. And even if you are not a believer in religion, even if you don't believe in God, the fact is clear. Everybody matters, whether Jewish or not, Jewish or Gentile, everybody matters. But the Jews, and now I'm talking like if I'm an atheist, not like a theist, but the Jews are have really contributed to the world in a very great way. There's a book even I wanted to write, but I put it aside because I think I didn't want to sound sectarian. I wanted to write it called The Great Jews, because Jews are not so many, or there's that connection of core Jews, pure Jews, because when you study genetics, clearly, Jews are actually everywhere. They are in every. Many nations have Jewish uh, blood, and the reason why it's because the Jews are ancient. Number one, number two, they were dispersed because of wars and a lot of violence against them. They were dispersed to many nations, and they intermarried with these nations. So you find some nations have Jewish blood in them. Genetics, like when you study the genetic groups in Israel, in the Jewish nation, it's a diverse, they have very many groups. So that's why you have black Jews, you have white Jews, you have Middle Eastern Jews. It's because they the Jews went to those regions. Jews came to Africa, they lived in Africa, they mixed with many tribes. Other Jews remained in the Middle East, and other Jews were taken to Europe. And now the Jews who went to Europe, they also went to America. And weird enough, the story of the Jewish people is so weird and so beautiful. Both black Jews and white Jews went to America. And the black Jews were the ones who were enslaved. So they went there. And the white Jews were also they were not enslaved, but some of them were there. It's very weird. And so basically most of the world, some of the world has a lot of Jewish blood. And that's why if you're really to take all the Jews, everyone who has an ounce of Jewish blood to Israel, Israel will be overpopulated. So there's no need of doing aliyah, going back to Israel. There is no need. You just stay where you are and build the world, because the world is the Lord's. If you now bring Jewish scripture, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So live wherever you are, it still belongs to the Lord. And so, anyway, back now to what happened. So the shooting, but I don't want to talk about the shooting so much. It's people are mourning, and but it's a good time to reflect. This is going to be the weirdest midterm elections in America. The weirdest. In fact, they should just take it easy, in the sense that it's highly staked, because this shooting didn't happen uh, on its own, isolated to the events that happened last week. America was on lockdown last week. Actually, what has happened, they should even have an inquiry as to what happened that week. It was on lockdown because George Soros, who is a Jew and a very big Jew, so they sent a bomb to him, and then finally to Democrats, and then now they end the week with attacking the Tree of Life Synagogue. So you can read that there was an anti-Semitic wave. There was an anti-Semitic wave that was in the air, and because in America politics, which you don't, especially when it comes to Jewish issues, I personally I don't talk about everything. I talk a lot, but there's some things I don't like talking about. So you just keep quiet and watch them. So the but I had to talk about this because it is a very big issue. And so the what has happened is that sometimes the Democrats are seen to be leaning very close to Jews, and this is evident in the teachings of very many people and speeches of very many people who are anti-democrat or are pro-republican or anti-republican. So there's that wave in American politics that has anti-Semitism, and this anti-Semitism is rooted in nationalism. Is rooted in nationalism, and ultranationalism is even the worst. That's what happened in Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany, it's so weird. Hitler was a Jew. Yes, he was. But he was a German Jew. And he was taken up by the whole nationalistic sentiment that led to the persecution of Jewish people and gay people in Germany. And that is what happened. And they put them in concentration camps, and they died, and some of them ran away. Now, the world now, right now, is going through a nationalistic wave. Now, what is nationalism? And this was the argument I was even having on Twitter when, surprisingly, during that week of the all these bombs and all of this, there was this argument that should people be nationalist or they should be patriotic. Personally, I believe in being humanist. That's why we take a humanistic approach. Humanist means everybody you meet is a human. Everyone is a human. And or deal with everybody as a human. Don't deal with somebody as a national. Now, United Nations is a humanistic organization, which means that's why they take care of it is their duty to take care of refugees, their duty to take care of anybody who is being violated, whose human rights is being violated, because he's human. He's not a national. He's more than being human, is bigger than being a national. So but the sad thing is that most people are not humanistic for reasons. The systems we have are national system. They are too nationalized. And the reason why people are nationalized is because of security. You see, if you are open to everybody, you can even be open to your enemy and he comes and kills you. That's the problem of being a bit open. So what nations do, they they beef up security by keeping their nationals safe and nationalizing things. Even look at the term, the economic nationalism. What is it called? Protectionism. That's what it's called. To protect is to protect the nation. That's economic nationalism, is protectionism. So this is the problem that happens in the world when nationalism rears its big head. And that's what happened now. America has taken that path of nationalism. Today, we've just had Brazil has taken that path of nationalism. And then Europe, parts of Europe are also become nationalistic. So there's a nationalistic wave. And the reason why there's a nationalistic wave, people are not happy with how life is going. And the economic life especially. Because Nazi Germany, even look at Germany humanistically. Why did they become Nazi? It is because the economy failed. World War One happened. Germany was forced to pay all European nations reparations. They were to pay for the damage that was caused by Germany in World War One. Even Germany lost its territories. So what did that mean? Germany became poor. The inflation it had was hyperinflation. You would buy a lot of you would buy one loaf of bread with a basket of notes, because inflation went up to the roof because they had no money. The money they printed to pay the reparations was finished completely. So there was no money circulating. So to keep money circulating, you had to print more. And because people needed money and to buy things, they had to increase the price of the things. That's what inflation is where the price goes up. So next thing you know, Germany was collapsing. And this was the time Hitler was, there was confusion in Germany, Weimar, if you read the Weimar Republic and all of those things. So when Hitler came into power, he was also a bitter German at what was happening economically. This was a country that was just unified. It was not even 30 years unified, and it had problems because it was unified. It was Germany was a country of many tribes until the unification of 1871. So when that what happened, Hitler came with the rise that we have to rise up economically, and what, and he was very charismatic, and people loved his rhetoric. But his rhetoric did not save the economy. So he had to find a problem. And he said he blamed Jews because Jews were in the economy. They were the ones, most of the banks were by the Jews and all of these things. So they started. And there's a lot to understand about anti Semitism. I don't want to go deep into it. I'm really, because if you read the history, you will understand it. There was a lot that was written that time. Even fellow Jews used to write against their Jewish people in Europe. So all of that publication, those writings, they were in Europe that time, and the people were programmed to hate Jews. So next thing you knew, Hitler was released, and and then Nazi Germany happened. So why did this come? It came not necessarily because people loved their nation, but because when you become so nationalistic, you tend to hate somebody who is not like you. You see, like xenophobia. You see, all these phobias, they come because of that life, the life of being fearful. You're lost. You fear everything. You fear a foreigner. You fear gays. You fear what else? You fear Muslim. You fear anything. So that was what filled the mind of many people. And why do people fear? They fear because they go through the emotion of uncertainty. You don't know what is going to happen, or you fear that this thing may kill me. So there are very many things. It's a lot of psychology, which I don't want to go into right now. So when now why I brought this story of Hitler is because I was arguing with someone that nationalism and patriotism are kind of the same. There's a thin line. Patriotism just means love of the fatherland, the land. Nationalism is love of a nation or preservation of a nation. So the problem of the two terms, when you're a patriot, you tend to be, so passionate about the fatherland, where you are, the land you're in. This is the land of our fathers, and we have to protect it. So it's a human it's a human trait that we love our lands, and it's very unconscious, very unconscious. Actually, when you find somebody who belongs to a land and he doesn't like that land, you go and address, there's something, and he was born in that, you go and address it, there's something disturbing him. It is either he's not seeing what he wants to be seen done in the country, and so it makes him very negative about the country. Then some other people, then now when it comes to nationalism, it's not about the fatherland, it's about being a citizen of that country. So the moment you've got citizenship, you become a national. Whether you were born there or not, or you were married to the person who belongs to that country, or you stayed in that country for enough years, you become a national. So that's the difference between nationalism and patriotism. Patriotism deals more with birth. It's basically birth. That I was born there, my father was born there, and so I love the country because this is home. We were born, we even have land. That's what happens. But for nationals, it's just that you become a national, you love the country, it's nice. That's why you can go to Denmark And you say, yeah, I'm Danish. I love Danish. I love the place. I'm a national. I have an ID card and I love it. So that's what happens. Now, all of those things can go to extremes. And they go to extremes when it becomes a phobia. And that's what you call now xenophobia. So you become such a national that you start fearing people who are not like you. You see? They are not like you. So that's what happened to Germany and still happens today in the world. When they know you are not part of us, they fear you and then they even want to kill you or to exterminate you or remove you. And this is what has happened all over the world right now. Immigration policies, look at Europe. They are banning refugees from entering because they are not nationals. So you must understand what is the issue of nationals. The issue of nationals is the people are, you cannot bring somebody whom you don't know. See, that's why there is a war in America and in Europe of what you call legal immigration and illegal immigration. Because for them, they are calling it legal. They only want legal immigration because there they will know who is coming. They will do, even remember what America has already done. They'll go through Facebook, all of these things. Look at the shooter of the in this synagogue shooting. They have already gone through his profile already, his social media accounts. So these days, even if you commit those crimes, everything is now there. Everybody knows you. It's just how much information they have about you. That's all. And so, what has happened is the nations, when they find they don't know you, they don't have data on you, and you've come to live in their country, they call you an illegal immigrant. This is what happened in Europe, and this is what's happening in America. Look at the exodus from Central America. And do you know why they're doing that? It is when you tell them, we only want legal immigrants, that's when everybody will come. Yes, because you've not even defined who is a legal immigrant. So I would have taken the humanistic approach. The humanistic approach is the UN approach. And this is what I'm saying. The war that is happening is a culture war. UN is a multicultural organization. But the countries that are in the United Nations are monocultural. Why? They have one national culture. That's what happens. So that's why there's this chaos that's happening. Because UN has its principles. Like what's happening at the border in America with Central America. Those guys can actually sue America because they are true refugees. I saw a woman with her child. She knows why she's running away. And she doesn't want to go back. If America chases her back, that's the end of that woman. Psychologically, she's dead. Dead. Because she knows why she's running away. So what was supposed to happen, if America was supposed to do, build asylum centers at the border. Very neat ones. They have the land. Build. And anybody who is running away from Central America can run to those countries. Because even Venezuela, there is migration happening. People are running to Colombia. Is Colombia stopping them? No, they understand what's happening in Venezuela. It is gone. Economically gone. You are only, if you really want to eat well, you won't stay in Venezuela. Yes. So UN, that's why UNHCR, I mean not UNHCR, UDHR understands the principle of freedom of movement. Humans will move when there is no food somewhere. Humans will move when there is war. Humans will move. It's even animals. They can never stay where there is no food. That's why they migrate and they don't care. You know, thank God countries don't build walls. Can you imagine if all the countries in the world built walls? How will elephants look for food when there's drought? They can't even cross. They'll just die. So that's why countries don't have walls. so that animals can get there. Birds are very lucky. No matter how high the wall, it will just fly high and land in your country. So, but an elephant can't. The wildebeest, the Serengeti, they can't. That's the best, is the best view to show you that humans, we are actually animals. We are just higher animals. And the way animals like living, animals are eating. I mean, today, didn't you eat? Yes. You're an animal, a higher one. Animals eat to survive. We also eat to survive. Did you move out? Why did you move out? Did you go outside? Yes. You went out. Why? There's something you wanted. You can't get it without moving. So you have to move. So that's freedom of movement. So, and freedom of expression. Didn't you talk to somebody? Yes. Did you keep quiet? Yes, that's freedom of expression. All of these freedoms. So what we need, what is happening is there is lack of humanistic education. The understanding that we're all humans, all of us. So that's what has happened that's what is happening in America right now. It's that war between the monoculture and the multicultural entities. And as I've told you, the Democrats tend to be more multicultural. That's a fact. Let's not hide things. And Republicans tend not to be so multicultural, though they are. They can't hide. I mean, look at Trump. He married Melania. I mean, how multicultural is that? That's why I was laughing when he said he's a nationalist, and I was like, "But you've married a foreigner, a true nationalist." But he could be right in the sense that she's a national by marrying him. So he didn't say he's a patriot. But a patriot is somebody who sticks to his land and the people of his land. And it's very complicated because Native Americans will say, "Excuse me, you can't be a national. This is not your land. You came from Europe." So you see, that's the problem that's happening in the world. It's a cultural war that has happened, and it's very sad that people lost their lives in such a way while they are worshiping. They are, and in a religious place, you're not supposed. The reason why this is a very sad story, a sad event, is it happened in a religious space. Religious spaces are very, you go there unarmed. You are supposed to, there is no time you're thinking about someone is coming to kill me. You see, that's what happened in America. The young boy who went and shot the blacks in church. It was like, what? You don't even, you never even think about it. But these days, the way the world is run and going, we are all unsafe. And the reason, we are going through many cultural wars. That's what Samuel Huntington said. And I believe every time I see these things, it's a clash of civilizations. We are fighting people who are different from us instead of tolerating people who are different from us. You're supposed to tolerate people. You're not supposed to fight someone who is different from you. So that's what has happened in America. And the culture of tolerance must be encouraged. This is why we said for President Trump, he was supposed to tolerate every culture, including the LGBTQ culture. If evangelicals say no to him for doing that, then he will for then we'll say evangelicals are intolerant. And you don't punish the evangelicals for their intolerance like the way you punish another person. What I mean by that, you don't use now Nazi tactics, you know, Nazi tactics of extermination. You don't do that. What you do, you sit them down. You sit them down and give them a thorough discussion. Understand the problem, like what we did in the other video. Why is there homophobia in Islamic countries? Is because there is something in the Islamic culture or system that doesn't support open homosexuality. So you help them out. They need to learn that systems are amended. Every system in the world is amended. There is none, even African cultures. There is no system that can't be amended. Why are they amended? They are human beings. Yes, human beings made those systems, so human beings can amend them. That's why constitutions are amended. We made them. Yes, we can amend it. So we can tolerate each other. There is nothing. We can sit down and talk, dialogue, talk about issues, solve, tolerate people. And this is why I support humanism. Humanism is the best system in dealing with the problems we have today, because you look at everybody as a human. Whether they are black, white, poor, rich, they are human beings. Republican, Democrat, they are human beings. When it's time for elections, go and vote. If this guy wins, fine. If the other one doesn't, fine. And then another thing that should happen, I'm not bringing a utopia, a robotic utopia of, if you win, don't even show you're happy. No, celebrate. And if you lose, you're free to express your feelings, but express them in a way that it will not injure or take somebody's life away, like what we have seen. This man may have been, is not may, he is anti-Semitic. And as I told you what happened, you see the news that happened, George Soros. So, people who have data, we've been studying, we've been telling you a lot about data. That is what is happening. When the data is driven into you, oh, George Soros, they sent a bomb. Yeah, I don't like him. I don't like him. Yes. Then this, why don't I like him? Then anti-Semitism comes into him. Yes, it's because of this, the Jews. And then I'm going to now kill them. You see, that's someone who has just gone berserk because of the data he has swallowed. You see? So there's a lot of things. And the other video we're going to discuss where the world is right now. We are in a transition. Yes, we're in a transition. We are living the Piscean age. The Piscean age is the age of religion. And the Aquarian age is the age of science. Have you noticed the Wikipedia pages of today do not look like the ones of 10 years ago? Yes. Why? Science. People now, you go and look at the country's profile. If you have saved the country profiles from Wikipedia in 2007, you will be shocked. Very simple. They didn't even have data. Now, the data is so accurate, you ask yourself, all these numbers. Yes, that's where we have come. It's the Aquarian age. We have come to Aquarius. Now we are so scientific. As I've told you, you can even picture how this man did what he was doing and what was in his head. So that's the world we are in right now. So we are mourning, and we send our condolences to the Jewish community in America and the American country, and to let them understand that these are cultural wars that are happening in the world, and they will be solved through tolerance. That's the only way we are going to solve all of these things. Tolerance of different people, tolerance of different sexualities, tolerance of different races, tolerance. Of course, we won't reach there now. Yes, it's gonna take a lot of time. And besides, let's give a hand to the world. It has tried. Yes, the world has tried. Right now, we'd have been worse off. There is no World War III because we are now more scientific. Yeah. So, we're very happy. It's going to take time to change the attitudes of people to tolerate different persons. And that's why I always say it will take education. Do you know the media is an educator? Yes, it's a very good Media, the teachers are on media, both mainstream media and social media. Now that's the issue we're having these days. We are being taught by very many people, and you're free to pick any teacher. The only problem is some teachers are confusing people with other things, data. And that's why I'm saying when you are a leader of a country, try and unite your people, and especially leaders, because leaders are teachers. Yeah, they are teachers. Leaders are teachers. Leaders are also rulers. They are all of these people, and if they teach people how to be humanistic, they will be humanistic. If they teach people to be nationalistic, like what I said, the problem that is happening in most of the world, when it is becoming nationalistic, then majority of the people will be nationalistic. So to encourage humanism in the people, let humanism be taught in the classes. Let people know that everybody is a human, irrespective of what they are or who they are, irrespective of their sexuality, irrespective of their economic class, irrespective of their political beliefs. When we are saying people to be humanist, we are not saying everybody to be a Republican. We are not saying people to become Democrats, everybody. No, we are just saying understand humans are different. They have different views about everything. Let them air them out. And that's what you do. But do not air them out to the point of killing people. That one is wrong. And that's what has happened in America. That one shouldn't happen again. You know, last time it was a church, and now a synagogue. So uh, is we have talked enough. I didn't want to talk much about that, but don't worry. The world is in a transition, and we're going to do that video about the in a problem when there's a transition. Even death is a transition. Yes, and when you see people who die slowly, have you seen a horse when it dies slowly? The kicks, they get very ferocious. So that's what happens in a transition stage. Okay, guys, uh, condolences, and let's continue working to live together in peace.